Why do cows grow so big eating only grass? Cattle don't eat only grass, they also eat other plants that are not grasses like alfalfa, Cicer milkvetch, and other forbs. They'll even eat leaves from trees and shrubs if they're palatable and within reach. But what makes cattle able to grow well on grass is both genetic factors and the adaptability of their digestive system to a largely roughage-type diet. Cattle are 4 gut-enteric fermenters and ruminants, meaning that they have 4 stomach chambers, 3 of which are not true stomachs but mere extensions of the esophagus, have a large chamber used for fermenting and digesting the feed or grass they consume, and regurgitate partly digested matter to rechew it again whilst resting. Cattle cannot digest the plant matter themselves, they need the help of millions of microbes that live in their rumen that can break down the glucose polymer bonds of cellulose using an enzyme called cellulase. While the bacteria use it for their own selves, and themselves to feed protozoa, what's left over goes to the cow for her own use. The microbes that die also go to feed the cow as a source of protein in addition to the bypass protein or non-protein nitrogen from the plants that the animal has consumed. The energy that cattle get from the forage they consume first goes to feed the rumen microbes and so to maintain the rumen ecosystem that exists, then into maintenance requirements of the animal and finally into growth, if it's a young steer, heifer or bull, lactation, if the cow is in milk, no matter if she's dairy or not and is feeding a calf or not, and reproduction, reproductive organ health and functionality of the bull, cow, and sexually mature or maturing heifer. The energy that is left over from all that gets converted and stored as fat. In nature, cattle do not eat only grass but all palatable vegetation they will encounter, be it grasses, sedges, forbs or grains. I have even seen cattle overconsume, to the point of being sick, on byproducts like coconut meal or coconut oil and get gastric shutdown because the product was palatable, tasted great, or was only available for lack of other feeds. But that is not natural. Years ago, while living in South America, Suriname, I started as an animal extension officer for the largest feed mill there in a county that had huge coconut plantations. We had excessive loss of animals dying because they were eating too much coconut oil. It was not fed to them but was ingested when the farmers fed by products of oil production with high oil residues. Cows eat a lot of grass because in the wild, pre-domestication, it was what was most available to them and they have adapted. They also thrive because their gastrointestinal (GI) tract makes it habitable to protozoans and bacteria that are there to break down the fiber in the grass and other material, making them available for the enzymes to work in further digestion. The microbes in the GI tract also supply byproducts of their metabolism that serve as building blocks used by the animals to form protein and carbohydrates. Additionally, when those trillions of microbes die in the tract, they too are digested and absorbed. It's like feeding the animal hundreds of grams of meat daily. Because they don't digest grass too, size of an animal goes hand in hand with the environment they live in, or better stated, the niche. Some are large, some are small. Effectively, far fewer organisms can life of plants than we humans believe. Most life of some sort of microorganism that lives of the veggies eaten. Also, plant eaters will not refuse protein that comes in other forms when available, and the smaller herbivore the more predator diet can exists. Insects are a very good example. Most can only young and fresh, low in plant fiber parts of a plant's. The nutritional value goes down rather quickly when freshness goes down and age increases. To say, can get everything from eating plants, isn't really accurate. What is not in the soil is not in the plant. Many plant eaters look healthy but this can be deceiving because no sooner there are problems such an animal becomes food. No sickly and kept artificially alive by a medial system like us humans, or seek out nutrient-rich soil and eat it, usually some clay. Gorillas are known to eat clay. Ruminants have huge advantages over other plant eaters. They are walking fermenter, and thus have a broad range of food they can live off. Think fresh grass and dry hay, and can even food that isn't really good for them, like corn. But this also means carrying around a lot of volume and weight. There are no small ruminants. Animals which are strict herbivores have digestive systems evolved to get the nutrients they need from vegetation. It's not as efficient, which is why herbivores have longer intestines and slower digestion than others. Ever notice how big a gut gorillas have on them? Looks like a beer belly? That's because they are strict herbivores. Different animals approach this conundrum in different ways. Many grazers such as cows have more than one stomach. The vegetation goes into the first, then is regurgitated into the mouth as cud, swallowed and goes into the second stomach for further processing in order to extract all nutrition possible. Elephants, on the other hand, just eat a lot. Their dung is full of unprocessed grasses, leaves, etc. They have to eat about 19 hours per day to get the nutrition they need. Rabbits reprocess their food by eating their poop coprophagy. They eat some grass, then poop out a wet pellet which they immediately eat. The second time they poop it out, the pellet is dry and they leave it.